Good day. In this video, we're going to show you how to work out a standard deviation with the help of a calculator. It's part of the grade 11 and older syllabus. We're going to use a Casio calculator. We want to work out the standard deviation of these 5 values. We start on the calculator by pushing mode stats. So there's the mode button. And of course, you must switch on the calculator first by using the on button over there. After you push the mode button, this window will appear. Comp, stats and table. We want stats, so we push 2. Then this window will appear. Now we want to use that 1 where the variance is written VAR. Just wrote here what we're doing. We pushed mode, stats number 2, then we pushed 1 for variance. Then this window will appear. Now this we're just going to do once. We want to put on the frequency here. So what do we do? Looking at the main calculator here, you push shift mode. Then this window will appear. Now we look for the word stats. We use this up and down button, that one over there, to go down until we find stats. There on the next window I see stats, so I push 3. Then this window will appear which says frequency on or off. Then you put your frequency on. Push 1. This will bring you back to this button, but now with the frequency put on. Now we key in our values. We take 3 equal. Then you see this in the window. You'll see the 3 is in and we're ready for the next number. There's 1 3 in there. Then we key in 4 equal, 6 equal, 7 equal and 10 equal. When you do that, you will see this in the window and you can see the 5th guy I keyed in was 10. The frequency is not important in this specific problem because it will be 1 every time. If you wanted to put in more for like another question, you can also come to this side and put in more of the guys. Now don't get afraid if you've never done this. Now we're going to push the all clear button. In other words, we got this on the window of the calculator. We push this all clear button. Don't be afraid. The moment you put an equal, the number is saved in the memory of the calculator. So you go all clear. I didn't show you that screen, but don't be afraid now. Now to get to the information on stats. There, if you look at the number 1 on your calculator, there it says stats in yellow. So we're going to push shift stats to get to all this information now. So we're going to go shift 1. Then this window will appear. In here, if you ever have to add up these numbers, you can find it over there. The data is what you physically typed in. You're going to get back to this screen. We don't want that. We don't want the minimum maximum yet. We want the variance, that VAR that we started with just now. So we go for number 4. That'll bring you to this window. Now here is everything we need. There is the number of data pieces I put in. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. If you push the 1 now, you'll get the 5 that I wrote here. If you push the 2, you will get the mean that the calculator already worked out for you. The mean of this data is 6. If you push 3, you're going to get the standard deviation, that little bomb with the X next to it. That is your standard deviation. We will find the value now. What's important is we do not ever use in high school that S with the X next to it. So get rid of it, put it out of your brain and don't use it. It's used for a sample space. If you only use samples in maths. We're not going to do that in our school syllabus. I wrote it in the red here for you. Don't use the S of X. It sounds like S for standard deviation, but don't use it. We only use the little bomb. That's our standard deviation in the school syllabus. So you now push 3. Then the calculator will give you 2,449 and so on, and that I usually store somewhere like in D. So my standard deviation is 2,449. If they do ask me the variance, that's not part of this video, you just take this with your calculator and just square it with the square button. You'll get your variance. Not important now. I did it for us, and then the answer of the variance will be 6. We're mainly working on the standard deviation now, so we store this in D. I also want you to fetch this mean for me and store that in B. You'll see now why. Please stop the video and see if you understand what happened here, how we worked out the standard deviation with a calculator. Now I'm quickly going to do a sentence that you will run into quite frequently in stats somewhere in your life. It says something about within 1 standard deviation of the mean of these data pieces. What we did is we saved the mean, or you can go and do it now, save your mean in B and save your standard deviation in D. They say within 1 standard deviation of the mean. So we take the mean and then we fetch the standard deviation and we minus it from there. So the mean minus 1 standard deviation will give me this answer, and I store that in A. The 6 I minus 2,449 from using my calculator. Then I take my mean, recall it, plus recall my standard deviation and add it to the mean, and I get this answer. So here's my two boundaries for within 1 standard deviation of the mean. So 1 standard deviation down from the mean and 1 standard deviation up from the mean gives me within 1 standard deviation of the mean. So the bottom fence will be 3,55 something and the top fence will be 8,44 something. You can now see that there are 3 values inside 1 standard deviation of the mean. Let's see why. That 3 is less than 3,55, so it's outside, and the 10 is more than 8,44, so it's outside 1 standard deviation of the mean. So 3 values are inside 1 standard deviation of the mean. And if you were asked, you can also say 2 values were outside 1 standard deviation of the mean. Please stop the video and get your brain around within 1 standard deviation of the mean. Please indicate whether you liked or disliked the video and subscribe to the channel. Enjoy the statistics.